Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Tyrone back with Tech Life. This article comes to you guys from Light Reading. I'll leave a link to it in the description so you guys could check it out. So this part right here is what I had the biggest issue or problem with during T-Mobile's quarterly earnings call, the commentary. And we have it here on the Light Reading article. And I feel this could be, somewhat of a problem for T-Mobile. So Peter Osvaldik, T-Mobile CFO, boasted unmatched capital efficiency, and that's what you want to have, right? You don't want to just be spending money just to spend money. You want to be as capital efficient as you possibly can. On today's call with analysts, while our long-term expectations continue to be in the 9 to 10 billion range annually, as we discussed before, 2024 is a bit lower given certain capital efficiencies. Network activities such as spectrum refarming and deploying additional 2.5 licenses from Auction 108, benefiting from the significant 5G radio deployments during our merger integration, he said. Referring to a previous frequency sale and a $26 billion merger with Sprint in 2020, site upgrades and build activity is planned in the fourth quarter, he said. So that's what I had an issue with. So when I checked the numbers for the midpoint, they lowered capex by $100 million. So I've never really seen that from the competition before, where they're lowering their capex mid-year. Yes, they usually stay within the range. That's AT&T and Verizon. They stay within that range and they come in either at the lower end of the range or the higher end of the range. But I've never seen them actually lower the capital investment for the year. T-Mobile did that. They lowered it by $100 million. And then he says we're gonna do site upgrades and site builds again in Q4. So what are you doing? And what are you doing during the third quarter? You're gonna take the quarter off? You know what I mean? Like that's what I had an issue with. You have your competitors that are aggressively investing the most that they've ever invested, right? They spent accelerated capital when they started with C-band. They put that into the quarterly earnings. They said, we are going to spend this amount of money more so we can roll this out as quickly as possible. And now AT&T is going to spend most, if not all, resources on this Nokia rip to Ericsson, possibly 11.5 to 12.5 billion for the second half, slated for the second half of this year. And you're just going to take a quarter off? Like, how does that work? Right? AT&T is about to gain some serious scale with the 5G availability and the mid-band piece, because, most Nokia sites, and I've looked into this, I did some research with the source. Nokia sites, majority of them were never upgraded. Yes, they were upgraded with the whole FirstNet situation, but most of them never got the C-band, the DoD. A lot of them are lacking NR radios. So there's about 28,000 sites that are going to get upgraded, and that's going to give AT&T very quickly some massive 5G scale. If that's what you're looking for, right? If you're into the whole 5G availability piece and you're looking at the third-party tests like OpenSignal and some others, right? Even RootMetrics now reports 5G availability. Then AT&T is about to grow very, very quickly on that. And some have the opinion that AT&T is about to outpace Verizon on the whole 5G deployment, because really Verizon is really just focused on the mid-band piece, right? They're going to sites today, I'm told, and they're just upgrading C-band, not doing much else to the sites. So yes, they are adding the NR radio where needed, but they're really just focused on the whole C-band, mid-band piece for obvious reasons, right? Capacity, FWA. So we get that, we understand that. But AT&T is also looking at everything else. They want to have SA. They want to have the low-band piece. They already have decent availability today. And they want to get the mid-band on air as quickly as possible. And this Nokia to Ericsson rip is going to allow for that. They're still going to be somewhat busy in the Ericsson areas, but in the Nokia markets, my God, if you have the patience, and you can, wait it out for this rip and replace to take place. I mean, most of your sites are going to have, all of your sites, I should say, are going to have mid-band. If you're in an area that's going to get it this year, by the end of the year, all of your sites are going to go from no mid-band to mid-band. So for T-Mobile to sit back and rest and lower capex and all that goodness, I don't like that, right? If you're in a competitive market, competitive business, capex can change everything. We could literally have results at the end of this year where AT&T is possibly like 270, 275, 280 million pops with mid-band. At that point, in my book, right, I'm going to say it's virtually closed, the coverage gap. That means majority of the areas now have mid-band. C-band, whether it's C-band, DoD, or both, it's going to be there to where AT&T can reap the benefits, right? Selling more internet air, which makes that segment a bit more saturated, because now T-Mobile has to worry about AT&T as well, on top of Verizon, because Verizon is scaling to rural as well. So to sit there and say you're going to reduce capex by 100 million because of refarming, and that could be the case, right? They have a lot of radios already deployed. Like I said, they spent 12, 13, 14 billion during the first years of the merger, after merger close. So they went pretty aggressive. And yes, they have a lot of radios deployed. So refarming can be done software-wise. When they got Auction 108, the additional 2.5, where they had that 2.5 radio deployed, they could just upgrade the bandwidth via software remotely. So they didn't have to touch those sites. So I get it. But did they really have to drop the capex by 100 million just to show that they're more capital efficient? Maybe show a little more free cash flow for the year, right? Raise and beat. They could have spent that 100 million upgrading legacy small cells, or getting a few more DAS systems installed, right? I'm just pointing out the obvious, but they have a business to operate, so I understand that too. If they want to post, higher service revenue, which they did, right? They came in at like almost 17 billion service revenue. Verizon service revenue is at 19.8 billion, so they're closing in on that. They wanted to probably post higher free cash flow. They did that. They're now coming in at the high end of 17 billion. So, they're choosing the balanced approach. They invested heavier at the beginning, right? They invested some of the synergies, and they went 10, 11, 12, 13. And in the last year where they went aggressive, they went 13 to 14 billion. They invested like 13.7 billion. So they already have a lot of their sites upgraded, if not all. But you can't rest. You can't just take a quarter off and say, oh, we'll be back in the fourth quarter to upgrade sites and do new site builds. Your coverage is still smaller than the competitors today, and the competitors are investing big money to catch you. So let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe if you're new. Follow my social media outlets. This is Tyrone with Tech Life. See y'all in the next one. Peace.